There are a lot of like connections between these things. I actually think there is a strong connection between what's happening, for example, in Chicago with the out of control civil service and the unfunded pensions all the way to the dollar status. But there's also a connection between commercial real estate and these pensions. So on a previous show, we talked about the commercial real estate looming crisis. And a lot of people thought that, some of the comments we were just talking our book, which is not true. I don't have a dollar invested in any of these office towers. But you know who does? Pension funds.
Yeah,
that's who owns these office towers. So you're talking about pension funds that are 3/4 unfunded, and they may have a lot less funds than they even think they do, because we're about to have a huge reckoning where all of a sudden these office towers that were supposed to be blue chip, that were supposed to have the best collateral there was in major American cities, now all of a sudden they may not be nearly as valuable as they thought they were.
Yeah, and if they don't own the building, they definitely own the debt. 100% for sure in the fixed income portfolios of all these pension systems are the debt that was used to finance these buildings by the REITs and by, the big real estate funds that put those things together. So you're absolutely right. They are 100% impacted by what's about to happen.
We're not going to allow, given the civil unrest and social unrest risk, and obviously as a democracy, we're not going to allow that all to go to zero, and we're not going to let pensioners not get paid. Ultimately, that's just a kiss of death. Maybe pension payments are reduced to some degree. But again, Paris is a really great example of, as you start to try and shift the economic guarantees that have been made to pensioners, even slightly.
Yeah, what was it, 2 years in retirement? 62
they
to 64?
tried to move retirement
64
age
to
by 2
62?
years. Yeah, and it was certainly like, you could sit here and argue what people for their whole life, had this expectation set. We have all, for our whole careers, invested in the Social Security benefits that we're owed as retirees through every paycheck that we've received. And those Social Security payments may not end up coming back to us if Social Security is allowed to go bankrupt. So ultimately, the government has to step in and issue new dollars to make that up. Then the economic question is, what happens to the value of the dollar? What happens to the value of the economy? And so on, as you issue trillions of dollars to fill these holes.